Hello, boxing fans around the world. Thank you once again for joining me as I recap some of the headlines, courtesy of our friends over in Germany at Boxing 24/7. Courtesy of our good friend, as you all know, I've said it a million times, Christian von Sponek. He's doing a great job, and his team should be congratulated for sending me these roundups. Let's start off with the Youth and Junior Boxing Championships, which are going on in Dubai. The countdown to the ASBC Asian Youth and Junior Boxing Championships has turned into its final phase. Just 4 days left until the start of the competition. The upcoming event, the ASBC Asian Youth and Junior Boxing Championships, will be held in Dubai, as I said, the UAE, August 17th to 31st. And the actual competition period is August 20th to the 30th. Among the many teams that are competing, it's obvious that, according to this report, the Uzbekis have sent a very strong team, quoting, the team is the leader of the Asian continent, and their current youth and junior teams consist of world-class level boxers. A record number of 51 champions, 25 girls and 26 boys, will be crowned in the ASBC Asian Youth and Junior Boxing Championships with titles. It's interesting to note, the ASBC Asian Youth and Junior Boxing Championships will be a money prize event. Quoting from AIBA President Umar Kremlev, he said, "Boxers are our top priority, and we from our side try to make every effort to support them. When young boys and girls choose to devote themselves to sports, it is worthy of admiration and encouragement. This is not an easy path, and I consider it our duty to help our boxers follow this path." So good for the guys over at the IBA, and Umar Kremlev is doing a really good job of churning great young amateurs and getting them excited about their sport. In other news, undefeated junior welterweight prospect Adrian Tonka Sosa, who's 11-0 with 9 knockouts, has found a new home, having signed a managerial contract with Ryan Roach's Fighter Locker. The 26-year-old Sosa, fighting out of Lawrence, Massachusetts, was a hot commodity after defeating previously undefeated Kiri Todd, who was 7-0 in 2018 by way of a 6-round majority decision, which led to Sosa signing a promotional contract with DiBella Entertainment. Sosa, however, was unhappy fighting only about 4 times against journeymen throughout the mid-19 season when the COVID pandemic shut down boxing. He says, "I had issues with opponents who kept falling out. Foxwoods is only a 2-hour drive from Lawrence, and I was losing credibility with my fans because fights kept falling out. I wanted to step up to showcase my skills, but I wasn't getting good fights. And then COVID hit. I called Lou DiBella, and he gave me my release. That fight versus Kiri is the biggest for me so far. People kept asking me why an undefeated fighter would fight another undefeated prospect. Well, he wanted to fight, and he called me out in a disrespectful way on social media. I took the fight, and I knew I was faster than him. That fight led me to signing with DiBella." Despite his inactivity the past 2 years plus in terms of fights, Sosa's kept busy in the gym, and he greatly benefited from 4 months in training camp this past May in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, sparring 50 rounds with George Kambosos Jr. for his since-postponed fight versus unified world lightweight champion Teofimo Lopez. Sosa used social media to get the sparring gig. Sosa explained, "I reached out to him on social media. Every time he posted about his fight against Lopez, I replied asking him to bring me to his camp for sparring. One day I was DM'd by him on Instagram. He let me know his team watched my video and they wanted to bring me to his camp. I learned a lot there, more about my style because I would just sit back as a boxer puncher. I started to counter more and my defense opened. I got a little more game from camp. When he did something, I wanted to come right back with it. The camp brought more of the fighter out of me. It opened my range and sharpened my defense." Sosa is a promotional free agent who has a new manager, Ryan Roach. The junior welterweight prospect is expected to be back in the ring next month at a site and a date to be announced soon. "I signed with Ryan because he's genuine and he's proven himself," says Sosa. Some doors were open to me, but he kept showing interest in me, and he never closed the door. He's trustworthy, and I just want to be part of what he's doing and sign with a major promoter. In other news, it's interesting to see that we have a couple of women making the headlines, Karina Fernandez and Iracema Reyes. Mexican bantamweight champion Karina La Bella Fernandez was originally scheduled to fight Iracema Reyes for the vacant Universal Boxing Organization UBO International Super Bantamweight title on July 30th in Ciudad Juarez. But due to circumstances outside their control, union promotions have now partnered with Promociones Picama and moved the fight to August 27th at the Civic Center in Ascension, Chihuahua. And the former W8 world title challenger, who's 14-6-1 with 3 knockouts, can also look forward to a tougher foe, as she will now face Leticia Uribe, who, despite a 6-17 record, has proven game and durable against some of the world's best. Karina Fernandez lost a close decision for the WBA super flyweight title in 2017 to Linda Laura Leca, and has since been working to put herself in a position for another shot at world honors. Last time out, this past March, she dropped a decision to Mexican icon and 5-time world champion Jackie Nava, but defeating Uribe and winning the UBO title will again put her on track. It may be a new date, new venue, and new opponent, but the goal remains the same for Fernandez. And only 30 years old, she still has ambitions to become world champion. In other news related to the World Boxing Association, the World Boxing Association Championships Committee sent a communication to the team of Super Bantamweight champion Brandon Figueroa to inform them that his title, WBA Super Bantamweight, will be vacated once he steps into the ring on September 18th in a unification fight against Stephen Fulton. Due to WBO restrictions, Figueroa's WBA title cannot be at stake during that fight. According to WBA Rule C10, an unsanctioned fight, a WBA champion or officially recognized contender who participates in a fight without the approval or sanction of the Championships Committee may lose his title or recognized status. As a result, Figueroa's Super Bantamweight title will be vacant as of September 18th. In other news, Joshua Franco was informed by the WBA Championships Committee that he is the next mandatory challenger for the WBA Super Flyweight Super Championship. The letter, signed by Carlos Chavez, chairman of the WBA Championships Committee, informs the 115-pounder that he must fight the winner of the Juan Francisco Estrada and challenger Roman Gonzalez for the Super Flyweight Championships, which will take place in the next few months. Franco defended his belt last Saturday with a unanimous decision win over Andrew Maloney. The San Antonio fighter has proven to be among the boxing elite and will now take another step forward when he faces the Estrada Gonzalez winner. Communication about this decision was formally sent to his team this past Tuesday, August 17th. In other interesting WBA news, WBA champ Lee Wood signs promotional deal with Matchroom Boxing. What a headline. WBA featherweight world champion Lee Wood, who we're familiar with on Talkin Fight, has signed a multi-fight promotional deal with Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing. Congratulations, Lee. According to the article on Boxing 24/7, Wood, 25-2 with 15 knockouts, stopped Shukan in 12th and final round to claim the WBA world title in a big upset at the top of the bill in the first week of the Matchroom Fight Camp held in Brentwood, Essex last month. Lee Fowl created history by becoming only the second ever boxer from Nottingham to become a world champion, following the footsteps of former IBF super middleweight world champion Carl Froch, who was watching on from the ringside. After only competing at British level throughout his career, Wood was thought to be up against Can, but it was clear from the opening bell that the powerful Ben Davidson-trained puncher belonged on the big stage. The 33-year-old Dave Caldwell-managed fighter is targeting unification fights in the 126-pound division after joining a thriving stable that boasts newly crowned IBF world champion Kid Galahad and former world champion Josh Warrington. According to Lee Wood, he says, I'm really excited to be working with Matchroom, who, in my opinion, are leading the way in professional boxing. I'm confident that they can deliver and help me achieve my dream on the biggest stage in boxing. Winning the WBA title at Fight Camp was just the beginning for me. I want all of the big fights out there. I said I wanted the Emmanuel Navarrete fight because he's explosive like me. That'll be absolute fireworks. Let's unify the division. My best years are definitely ahead of me. According to Matchroom Sport Chairman Eddie Hearn, he said, I'm delighted to welcome Lee to the Matchroom boxing team after his stunning victory at Fight Camp. The featherweight division is on fire right now in the UK, and there are some huge unification fights out there also. We have the platform to box Lee anywhere in the world, but I'd love to land him a big fight at the City Ground next year. Dave Caldwell said, I'm delighted to see Lee Wood rewarded for his history-making world title win at Fight Camp and a well-deserved promotional deal with Matchroom Boxing. There we go. And last story of the day I'd like to report to you is interesting, to say the least. As the writer writes, and this is coming out of Dubai, I'll admit to this matchup, I never saw this one coming. Yes, you did read it right. Thor Bjornsson versus Devon Larratt. Thor Bjornsson will now take on arm wrestling legend Devon Larratt when Core Sports Fight Night 3 takes place next month. No, not in an arm wrestling, but a boxing exhibition. The highly anticipated event will be held in Dubai on Saturday, 18th of September, and will be broadcast around the world live on Core Sports World. Thor was originally set to face strongman rival Eddie Hall at the event, with MTK Global acting as the official boxing advisors to what is dubbed as the heaviest boxing match in history. But an injury to Hall meant it couldn't take place, with Thor now turning his attention to Larratt, who is widely considered to be one of the best arm wrestlers of all time and is currently the number one ranked arm wrestler in North America. Elsewhere on the card, and something I took note of, CrossFit rivals Josh Bridges and Jacob Hepner collide, while the likes of one of my favorite women fighters, Avril Matthew, is set to face off against Steffi Cohen. All eyes on that event, not for the arm wrestling legends, but Avril Matthew, in my opinion. Right, that's all the news for today. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate your attention. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell to let you know when I'm coming up next. Thanks very much. We'll see you tomorrow.